Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam by Omar Khayyam. Translated by Edward Fitzgerald. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Algie Pug. Second edition, 1868. Wake! For the sun behind yon eastern height has chased the session of the stars from night, and to the field of heaven ascending, strikes the Sultan's turret with a shaft of light. Before the phantom of false morning died, methought a voice within the tavern cried, "When all the temple is prepared within, why lags the drowsy worshipper outside?" And as the cock crew, those who stood before the tavern door shouted, "Open then the door! You know how little while we have to stay, and, once departed, may return no more." Now the new year reviving old desires, the thoughtful soul to solitude retires, where the white hand of Moses on the bough puts out, and Jesus from the ground suspires. Iram indeed is gone with all his rose, and Jamshid's 7-ring cup, where no one knows, but still a ruby gushes from the vine, and many a garden by the water blows. And David's lips are locked, but in divine high-piping Pelevi with wine, 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 red wine, the nightingale cries to the rose, that sallow cheek of hers to incarnadine. Come, fill the cup, and in the fire of spring your winter garment of repentance fling. The bird of time has but a little way to flutter, and the bird is on the wing. Whether at Naishapur or Babylon, whether the cup with sweet or bitter run, the wine of life keeps oozing drop by drop, the leaves of life keep falling one by one. Morning 1,000 roses brings, you say. Yes, but where leaves the rose of yesterday? And this first summer month that brings the rose shall take Jamshid and Kaikobad away. Well, let it take them. What have we to do with Kaikobad the Great or Kai Khosru? Let Rustum cry, "To battle!" as he likes, or Hatim Tai, "To supper!" Heed not you. With me along the strip of herbage strown that just divides the desert from the sown, where name of slave and sultan is forgot, and peace to Mahmud on his golden throne. Here with a little bread beneath the bough, a flask of wine, a book of verse, and thou beside me singing in the wilderness, O wilderness were paradise enow. Some for the glories of this world, and some sigh for the prophet's paradise to come. Ah, take the cash and let the promise go, nor heed the music of a distant drum. Were it not folly, spider-like to spin the thread of present life away to win what? For ourselves who know not if we shall breathe out the very breath we now breathe in. Look to the blowing rose about us. Lo, laughing, she says, into the world I blow. At once the silken tassel of my purse tear, and its treasure on the garden throw. For those who husbanded the golden grain, and those who flung it to the winds like rain, alike to no such aureate earth are turned, as, buried once, men want dug up again. The worldly hope men set their hearts upon turns ashes, or it prospers, and anon, like snow upon the desert's dusty face, lighting a little hour or two, was gone. Think, in this battered caravanserai, whose portals are alternate night and day, how Sultan after Sultan with his pomp abode his destined hour and went his way. They say the lion and the lizard keep the courts where Jamshid gloried and drank deep, and Bahram, that great hunter, the wild ass stamps o'er his head, but cannot break his sleep. The palace that to heaven his pillars threw, and kings the forehead on his threshold drew, I saw the solitary ring-dove there, and coo, 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 she cried, and coo, coo, coo. Ah, my beloved, fill the cup that clears to-day of past regrets and future fears. To-morrow, why to-morrow I may be myself with yesterday's 7,000 years. For some we loved, the loveliest and the best that from his vintage rolling time has pressed, have drunk their cup a round or two before, and one by one crept silently to rest. And we that now make merry in the room they left, and summer dresses in new bloom, ourselves must we beneath the couch of earth descend, ourselves to make a couch for whom? I sometimes think that never blows so red the rose as where some buried Caesar bled, that every hyacinth the garden wears dropped in her lap from some once lovely head. And this delightful herb, whose living green Fledges the river's lip on which we lean, ah, lean upon it lightly, for who knows from what once lovely lip it springs unseen. Ah, make the most of what we yet may spend, before we too into the dust descend, dust into dust, and under dust to lie, sans wine, sans song, sans singer, and sans end. Alike for those who for to-day prepare, and those that after some to-morrow stare, a Musayen from the tower of darkness cries, "Fools, your reward is neither here nor there." Another voice, when I am sleeping, cries, "The flower should open with the morning skies," and a retreating whisper, as I wake, "The flower that once has blown for ever dies." Why, all the saints and sages who discussed of the two worlds so learnedly, are thrust like foolish prophets forth, their words to scorn are scattered, and their mouths are stopped with dust. Myself when young did eagerly frequent doctor and saint, and heard great argument about it and about, but evermore came out by the same door as in I went. With them the seed of wisdom did I sow, and with my own hand wrought to make it grow, and this was all the harvest that I reaped. I came like water, and like wind I go. Into this universe, and why not knowing, nor whence, like water willy-nilly flowing, and out of it, as wind along the waste, I know not whither, willy-nilly blowing. What, without asking, hither hurried whence? And, without asking, whither hurried hence? Ah, contrite heaven endowed us with the vine, to drug the memory of that insolence. Up from earth's centre through the seventh gate I rose, and on the throne of Saturn sate, and many knots unravelled by the road, but not the master knot of human fate. There was a door to which I found no key, there was the veil through which I could not see. Some little talk awhile of me and thee there was, and then no more of thee and me. Earth could not answer, nor the sea that morn in flowing purple of their Lord forlorn, nor heaven with those eternal signs revealed and hidden by the sleeve of night and morn. Then all of the thee in me who works behind the veil of universe I cried to find a lamp to guide me through the darkness, and something then said, "An understanding blind." Then to the lip of this poor earthen urn I leaned, the secret well of life to learn, and lip to lip it murmured, "While you live, drink, for once dead you never shall return." I think the vessel that with fugitive articulation answered once did live and drink, and that impassive lip I kissed, how many kisses might it take and give? For I remember stopping by the way to watch a potter thumping his wet clay, and with its all obliterated tongue it murmured, "Gently, brother, gently, pray." For has not such a story from of old Down man's successive generations rolled, Of such a clod of saturated earth Cast by the Maker into human mould? And not a drop that from our cups we throw On the parched herbage but may steal below To quench the fire of anguish in some eye There hidden, far beneath, and long ago. As then the tulip for her wonted sup Of heavenly vintage lifts her chalice up, Do you, twin offspring of the soil, Till heaven to earth in virtue like an empty cup. Do you, within your little hour of grace, The waving cypress in your arms enlace, Before the mother back into her arms fold, And dissolve you in a last embrace. And if the cup you drink, the lips you press, End in what all begins and ends in, yes, imagine then you are what heretofore you were, Hereafter you shall not be less. So when at last the angel of the drink Of darkness finds you by the river brink, And, proffering his cup, invites your soul forth To your lips to quaff it, do not shrink. And fear not lest existence closing your account Should lose, or know the type no more. The eternal Saki from that bowl has poured Millions of bubbles like us, and will pour. When you and I behind the veil are past, Oh, but the long, long while the world shall last, Which of our coming and departure heeds As much as ocean of a pebble cast. One moment in annihilation's waste, One moment of the well of life to taste. The stars are setting, and the caravan draws To the dawn of nothing. Oh, make haste! Would you that spangle of existence spend About the secret? Quick about it, friend! A hair, they say, divides the false and true. And upon what, prithee, does life depend? A hair, they say, divides the false and true, Yes, and a single alif were the clue, Could you but find it, to the treasure house, And peradventure to the Master too, Whose secret presence, through creation's veins Running, quicksilver like eludes your pains, Taking all shapes from Ma to Mahi, And they change and perish all, but he remains. A moment guessed, then back behind the fold Immersed of darkness round the drama rolled, Which for the past time of eternity He does himself contrive, enact, behold. But if in vain down on the stubborn floor Of earth, and up to heaven's unopening door You gaze today while you are you, How then tomorrow you when shall be you no more. Oh, plagued no more with human or divine, Tomorrow's tangle to itself resign, And lose your fingers in the tresses Of the cypress slender minister of wine. Waste not your hour, nor in the vain pursuit Of this and that endeavour and dispute. Better he merry with the fruitful grape Than sadden after none, or bitter, fruit. You know, my friends, how bravely in my house For a new marriage I did make carouse, Divorced old barren reason from my bed, And took the daughter of the vine to spouse. For is and is not, though with rule and line, And up and down by logic I define, Of all that one should care to fathom, I was never deep in anything but wine. Ah, but my computations, people say, Have squared the year to human compass, eh? If so, by striking from the calendar Unborn tomorrow and dead yesterday. And lately, by the tavern door agape, Came shining through the dusk an angel shape Bearing a vessel on his shoulder, and he bid me taste of it, and 'twas the grape. The grape that can with logic absolute The 72 jarring sext confute, The sovereign alchemist that in a trice Life's leaden metal into gold transmute. The mighty Mahmud, Allah breathing Lord, That all the misbelieving and black horde Of fears and sorrows that infest the soul Scatters before him with his whirlwind sword. Why, be this juice the growth of God, Who dare blaspheme the twisted tendril as a snare? A blessing, we should use it, should we not? And if a curse, why then, who set it there? I must abjure the balm of life, I must, scared by some after-reckoning ta'en on trust, or lured with hope of some diviner drink when the frail cup is crumbled into dust. If but the vine and love abjuring band are in a prophet's paradise to stand, alack, I doubt the prophet's paradise were empty as the hollow of one's hand. O threats of hell and hopes of paradise! One thing at least is certain, this life flies. One thing is certain, and the rest is lies, the flower that once is blown for ever dies. Strange, is it not, that of the myriads who before us passed the door of darkness through, not one returns to tell us of the road which to discover we must travel too. The revelations of devout and learned, who rose before us, and as prophets burned, are all but stories, which, awoke from sleep, they told their fellows, and to sleep returned. Why, if the soul can fling the dust aside, and naked on the air of heaven ride, is't not a shame for him so long in this clay suburb to abide? But that is but a tent wherein may rest a sultan to the realm of death addressed. The sultan rises, and the dark Ferrash strikes, and prepares it for another guest. I sent my soul through the invisible some letter of that afterlife to spell, and after many days my soul returned and said, "Behold, myself am heaven and hell." Heaven but the vision of fulfilled desire, and hell the shadow of a soul on fire, cast on the darkness into which ourselves, so late emerged from, shall so soon expire. We are no other than a moving row of visionary shapes that come and go, round with this sun illumined lantern held in midnight by the master of the show. Impotent pieces of the game he plays upon this checkerboard of nights and days, hither and thither moves, and checks and slays, and one by one back in the closet lays. The ball no question makes of eyes and nose, but right or left it strikes the player goes. And he that tossed you down into the field, he knows about it all, he knows, he knows.